For the longest time, I was absolutely convinced that my family's problems were, well, uniquely ours, that we were tangled up in a way no one else was. It literally took me hitting rock bottom. I'm talking chopping vegetables at 11 o'clock at night, just furious, to finally start asking the right questions. This is the story of how I found the answer in a surprisingly simple and kind of devastating little diagram.
This was the question. This was the one that just spun around in my head constantly. I mean, I saw myself as the good guy, right? The one holding everything together, the fixer. So, how did every single argument end with me feeling like the villain? It was like a trap I kept walking into, but I couldn't see the bars.
And that's exactly where this story really kicks off. In my kitchen, just fuming. My husband's in the other room. My mother-in-law is asleep after another one of those dinners, you know the kind. And I was just stuck there, stewing in this feeling of being completely unappreciated and totally, totally alone. But see, that feeling? It wasn't new, not at all. It was a pattern, a script that I was living out every single day without even realizing it. I was trying so hard to be the hero of my own story, but somehow I kept getting cast as the bad guy. My day-to-day was this insane blur, trying to be the perfect software engineer at work, the perfect wife at home, the perfect daughter-in-law. I was basically trying to rescue everyone from any little bit of unhappiness, from any tiny conflict. And in the process, I was completely drowning. The cycle was just exhausting.
That night, oh man, that night the pattern played out perfectly. So I started as the rescuer, trying to smooth everything over. But when my husband pointed out how tired I was, bam, I flipped into the victim role. Nobody ever helps me. Then he tries to be the rescuer, offering solutions. But when I shot them down, he switched to persecutor. Well, stop complaining then. And that's when I just exploded, becoming the persecutor myself. And just like that, he was the victim. It happens so fast. It's dizzying. It wasn't until I finally dragged myself to therapy that I got a name for this chaotic little dance we were doing. And that name, it changed everything. All of a sudden, this wasn't just my family's personal brand of crazy. Nope, it was a well-documented psychological game. And this was the huge light bulb moment. It was like reading a history book about my own life. For thousands of years, humans have been falling into this exact trap. We weren't broken, we were just unconsciously playing these roles in a social dynamic that's as old as time itself. It's called the drama triangle. So let's look at the players, okay? First up, you have the victim. The whole identity here is about being powerless. Poor me. The world is unfair, things are just too hard, and someone else really needs to come and fix it. It feels kind of safe because nothing is your fault, but it also leaves you with zero power. Next up is the rescuer, and yep, this was my starting position. My home base. The rescuer has this deep, deep need to be needed. They jump in to solve everyone else's problems, a lot of times without even being asked. Their whole sense of self is wrapped up in being the savior, the capable one. And the final role in this little play is the persecutor. This role deals with its own pain and anxiety by blaming and criticizing other people. See, if someone else is at fault, then the persecutor gets to feel righteous, they feel in control. It's all about pointing the fingers so you never have to look in the mirror. And that right there is the really toxic part of this whole game. The roles, they aren't fixed. It's like this frantic game of musical chairs. We jump from rescuer to victim to persecutor, sometimes in the span of a single conversation. It's this exhausting game where the only prize you win is more drama and absolutely zero resolution. So this brings up the big question, right? If it's so awful, why do we do it? Why are we so addicted to this misery? Well, it's because, deep down, we're getting something out of it. There's a secret payoff. And these payoffs are really seductive. Playing our role feels familiar, you know? It confirms these old stories we tell ourselves. The drama gives us a little jolt of excitement, it keeps things from being boring, and, most importantly, it lets us avoid the terrifying vulnerability of real connection. Plus, hey, nothing is ever really our fault. This one was a tough pill for me to swallow. As a lifelong rescuer, I truly believed I was helping, but I wasn't. I was enabling. I was taking away other people's power to figure out their own stuff, all so I could feel essential. Real help empowers people. Rescuing just keeps them stuck. Okay, so this is the most important part. Seeing the triangle, that's not enough. You have to make a very conscious choice to step off of it. And that's exactly what I learned how to do. It was
Definitely uncomfortable and super hard at first, but it was possible. The very first step was just changing my language, which, it turns out, changes your entire mindset. So instead of blaming, I started asking, what can we do differently? Instead of jumping in to fix things, I'd ask, what have you considered? And instead of feeling helpless, I started owning my choices. This is the real shift, you guys, from drama to just being an adult. So here are the practical steps I learned. 1, I had to refuse my go-to role as the rescuer. Just stop. 2, and this is the hardest one, I had to stay in that calm, rational, adult state, even when people were trying to pull me into the drama. And that often meant 3, setting a boundary and just walking away. And finally, I learned to cut through all the noise by asking one simple question: what is the actual problem we're trying to solve here? So, I did something kind of radical. I called a family meeting. I know, right? I just stated calmly and with zero blame that I was exhausted and that we needed to figure out the chores fairly. And when my mother-in-law tried to pull me into the triangle by playing the victim, I didn't take the bait. I just calmly repeated our goal: find a solution that works for everyone. And here's the magic. It only takes one person to stop playing the game. The second I refused my role as rescuer, the whole system just started to wobble. The drama engine, it ran out of fuel. It couldn't keep going without my participation. The old toxic dance had to stop, and something new, something real, had to begin. Stepping off the triangle really means you're stepping out of a performance. You stop playing these roles you were probably assigned as a kid, and you get to start figuring out who you actually are. Life is a lot less dramatic now, I'll be honest. There are fewer fireworks, fewer big crises. It's quieter. But the connection I have with my family now, it's real. It's not based on this desperate need to rescue someone or be rescued. It's based on respect between adults. And that has made all the difference. So I'll just leave you with this. Think about those arguments that happen over and over in your own life. The role you play, it probably feels as comfortable as an old sweater. But you have to remember, familiar isn't the same as authentic. The real question isn't whether the role feels familiar, it's whether that role is truly you.